Hi, I'm Lauren Welb, and I'm in Illinois for Thanksgiving. So excuse the background. It's a little bright, but we'll make it work. To jump into my essay, my two main topics were gender communication and communication within small groups. Now, small groups is where two or more people have a discussion or a conversation face to face, typically about the same beliefs. Gender communication is where the same gender or different genders talk about things. But before I go more in depth with this whole thing, I just want to say males and females communicate totally different. With girls, it's more, emotionally invested in things, emotionally supportive. They just want to get to know more. With guys, they're like, let me hear the information, next topic. They're not as invested in it, I guess. But so that's how the two genders differentiate in the way they communicate. They're just two different things. So we'll get more in depth with that. But I just want to start off before we go even further in the essay. I just want to start off by saying communication is extremely important. Communication, you can't have a job without communicating, because you need to have an interview. But if you can't communicate, what's the point? You with telling a doctor what's wrong and you're not feeling well, that is so important. But if you can't communicate, okay, and then if you can't communicate, you can't have friends, you can't have relationships like boyfriend and girlfriends, or even like a relationship with your mom, or just you can't have that bond. So just I can't stress enough how important it is being able to communicate. So communication plays a big factor in people's lives, and I want to get into that. So in my essay, it consisted of 5 main things, and I want to tell you guys about that. So the first thing was same gender communication. The same genders, like girls and girls, boys on boys, they communicate together for many reasons. Boys, in the way they communicate, they reach out to other guys because they get each other, you know what I mean? Same thing with girls. Like a girl. Girls are more emotionally involved. So with girls they want to hear more about it, they'll tell other girls. With guys, it's like, hey bro, this is what happened. Cool. It's like they communicate the same, so they'll go to another guy to tell, if that makes sense. And they're just more comfortable with each other. Girls are more comfortable with girls, guys are more comfortable with guys. It just makes sense that it would be like that. But going to opposite gender and how opposite genders communicate, it's a little bit more uncomfortable because you guys communicate differently. Excuse me. And it's also more uncomfortable because if you have that possibility of liking the other gender, it's just like, then you don't want to lay all your information, or you don't want to tell them how you feel, and that could cause a friction with how you guys communicate. It's just, it could be a little bit more uncomfortable, which is understandable. But gender and social media. Social media is a platform used to impress. It's just what I'm finding, based on my sources and just from my perspective. It's very much about impressing one another. So girls will post a selfie, say someone posts a selfie, and all her friends are like, hard eyes, assuming it's a girl. Okay, they'll put hard eyes or you're so pretty on social media, but I bet 1 out of 10 of the girls will actually say in person, hey, you look really nice in that photo. It's like you rarely hear of girls complimenting each other in person, which is what social media is doing. You're not creating that, in-person dynamic that you want. So that's how social media has played a big role on genders and communication. Genders versus in person and communicating versus like over text. Those are two different things, how they communicate. In person, it's a lot more comfortable. It's a lot more like, hey girl, how you doing? Like, whereas text, it's like, you don't know like how they're feeling, you know? You could say, oh yeah, like, have you done the homework yet? But you don't know like what tone they're saying it, or, you know, it's a lot harder to read how they're communicating with you, whether it's kind of rude or nice. It's just a lot more comfortable to do in person communicating. So moving on to the last or the fifth topic of what my essay consisted of, it's gender versus small groups. A small group, like I said, it's where two or more people have the same beliefs and they are comfortable to talk about it. It's more, so that's what a small group is, and how genders communicate. So, to conclude this video, and my essay, everyone socializes in their own way. Same genders communicate more because they feel more comfortable with one another, whereas opposite genders, they feel less uncomfortable, but for the sake of it, they'll still communicate to form that, you know, relationship. So yeah, communication plays a major role on society, and it plays a major role between different genders and how they communicate, and small groups with more than one person, including opposite sexes. It's just it's a whole thing. So, but thank you for watching, and I hope you guys like my video.